Capitalism's Achilles Heel by Raymond W. Baker. On page 82 to 85 of the book, cover the section on Nawaz Sharif. While Benazir Bhutto hated the generals for executing her father, Nawaz Sharif early on figured out that they held the real power in Pakistan. Nawaz Sharif's father had established a foundry in 1939 and together with six brothers had struggled for years only to see their business nationalized by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's regime in 1972. This caused decades of enmity between the Bhuttos and the Sharifs. Following the military coup and General Zia's assumption of power, the business Ittifaq was returned to family hands in 1980. Nawaz Sharif became a director and cultivated relations with senior military officers. This led to his appointment as Finance Minister of Punjab and then election as Chief Minister of this most populous province in 1985. During the 1980s and early 1990s, given Sharif's political control of Punjab and eventual prime ministership of the country. So here is the important sentence. Ittifaq Industries grew from its original single foundry into 30 businesses producing steel, sugar, paper and textiles with combined revenues of 400 million, making it one of the biggest private conglomerates in the nation. As in many other countries, when you control the political realm, you can get anything you want in the economic realm. With Lahore, the capital of Punjab, serving as the seat of the family power, one of the first things Sharif did upon becoming Prime Minister in 1990 was build his long dream of superhighway from there to the capital, Islamabad. Estimated to cost 8.5 billion rupees. The project went through two biddings. Davao of Korea is strengthening its proposals with midnight meetings was the highest bidder both times. So obviously it won the contract and delivered the job at well, over 20 billion rupees. A new highway needs new cars. Sharif authorized importation of 50,000 vehicles duty free, reportedly costing the government $700 million in lost custom duties. Banks were forced to make loans for vehicle purchases to would-be taxi cab drivers upon receipt of a 10% deposit. Borrowers got their Nawaz Sharif cabs and some 60% of them promptly defaulted. This left the banks with $500 million or so in unpaid loans. Upon his loss of power, the next government published a list of 322 of the largest loan defaulters, representing almost 3 billion out of 4 billion owed to banks. The Ittifaq Group went bankrupt in 1993 when Sharif lost his premiership the first time. By then, only 3 units in the group were operational, and loan defaults of the remaining companies totaled some 5.7 billion rupees, more than $100 million. Offshore companies have been linked to Nawaz Sharif, 3 in the British Virgin Islands by the name of Nascal, Nielsen and Shamrock, and another in the Chalor Island known as Chanderson Jersey Private Limited. Some of these entities allegedly were used to facilitate purchase of 4 rather grand flats on Park Lane in London at various times occupied by Sharif family members. In her second term, Benazir Bhutto had Pakistan's FIA begin a probe into the financial affairs of Nawaz Sharif and his family. The probe was headed by Rahman Malik, Deputy Director General of the agency. Here are some important revelations in the report. At least $160 million pocketed from a contract to build a highway. At least 140 million in unsecured loans from Pakistan's State Bank. More than 60 million generated from government rebates on a sugar exported by Mr. Sharif and business associates. At least 58 million skimmed from inflated price paid for imported wheat from the United States and Canada. The report went to state that the extent and magnitude of this corruption is so staggering that it has put the very integrity of the country at stake. No other leader of Pakistan has taken that much money from the banks. There is no rule of law in Pakistan. It does not exist. In the second term, in 1998, Nawaz Sharif introduced a bill to impose Sharia law across Pakistan, with himself empowered to issue unilateral directives in the name of Islam. In 2000, exiled to Saudi Arabia, Nawaz Sharif had got 22 containers of carpets and furniture followed, and of course his foreign accounts remained mostly intact. Corruption and criminality run from the top down, with the political class constantly looting the national treasury and distorting economic policy for personal gain. Bank loans are granted largely on the basis of status and connection. The rich stash money of their money abroad in those willing Western coffers, while exhibiting little inclination to repay their rupee borrowings. Regarding Benazir Bhutto on pages 77 to 82, born in Karachi in 1953 and educated in private schools, Benazir Bhutto graduated from Radcliffe College at Harvard University in 1973. Going on to Oxford for a master's degree, she displayed her political skills and was elected president of the Student Union in 1977. Meanwhile, her father had become Prime Minister of Pakistan in 1971, was ousted in a military coup in 1977, and was executed in 1979 on charges of conspiracy to commit murder. Upon taking office in 1988, Benazir Bhutto reportedly appointed 26,000 party hacks to state jobs, including positions in state-owned banks. Bhutto and Zardari gave instructions for billions of rupees of unsecured government loans to be given to 50 large projects. The loans were sanctioned in the names of frontmen, but went to the Bhutto-Zardari combined. Zardari suggested that such loans are normal in the third world to encourage industrialization. Zardari used 421 million rupees, about 10 million pounds, to acquire a major interest in 3 new sugar mills, all done through nominee acting on his behalf. In another deal, he alleged received a 40 million rupees kickback on a contract involving in the Pakistan Steel Mill, handled by 2 of his cronies. Along the way, Zardari acquired a succession of nicknames: Mr. 5%, Mr. 10%, Mr. 20%, Mr. 30%, and finally, in Bhutto's second term, what he was appointed Minister of Investments, Mr. 100%. Even the Swiss finally had enough. 17 bank accounts linked to Bhutto and Zardari were frozen. The 2 were charged with money laundering in connection with bribes received from the inspection company SGS, and were convicted by a Swiss court in 2003 with fines and suspended prison sentences. This was short-lived. The decision was overturned and referred back to prosecutors upon appeal. Meanwhile, Zardari was prisoned in Pakistan from 1996 to 2004 on many charges. Benazir Bhutto, with her father executed, 2 brothers assassinated, her mother and amnesia. Her husband is still troublesome and she, living in exile between London and Dubai, portrays herself as the victim. I never asked for power. I think they, the Pakistani people, need me. I don't think it's addictive. You want to run away from it, but it does not let you go. I think the reason this happened is that we want to give love and we receive love. In the global connection of displaced leaders, Benazir Bhutto may be the least sympathetic character of all. Nawaz Sharif had committed corruption worth of 400 million US dollars and made assets abroad. Nawaz Sharif got commission worth 160 million US dollars from Lahore Islamabad motorway project.